Hey, everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network here. Another edition of Off the Top Rope. Reacting to Backlash, as I said, this show was fantastic. Way better than WrestleMania 41, both nights. Like, this was, in a lot of ways, not even particularly close. All five matches were outstanding. But let's talk about the opener here, first off. And let's talk about the conclusion of this match, which was a big deal. The big surprise, although a lot of people, and there had been rumors circulating, even though Jeff Cobb had, kind of said that he was retired. We all knew Jeff Cobb was going to WWE after a long career, New Japan on the Independents, Lucha Underground. Jeff Cobb is in WWE. He helps out, and really Solo Sikoa gets involved on behalf of Jacob Fatu. And then as LA Knight's going after Solo Sikoa, Jeff Cobb clocks him and gets involved, and it ultimately leads to Jacob Fatu reluctantly retaining the United States Championship. So Jeff Cobb immediately into a big time angle. Some people will be snickering. It's like, oh, he's Hawaiian. I think he's from Guam actually, but he grew up in Hawaii. And he's a former Olympian. But if you haven't known who Jeff Cobb is, I mean, some people have seen him in AEW, and he had a couple of little brief runs with the New Japan crossover, and then he was also kind of used as like a, kind of a hired, hired bodyguard type with Jericho early on when the Inner Circle was going on. So I need to point this out. Because it seems like every single time that there's somebody who has been in AEW has gone to WWE, and they already look infinitely more well represented or presented. And that was the case here with Jeff Cobb. Like, the fans reacted clearly; they knew who he was, and it was a big time deal. And he's going to be in a big time spot because whatever his involvement is going to play into whatever Jacob Fatu is doing. Because clearly that's where this is going. Jacob Fatu is going to get away from the Bloodline. He's already incredibly over as a talent, and the fans love him. They were chanting Fatu the whole match, and it's crazy that you're in a match with LA Knight, and they're kind of like neck and neck in terms of popularity. It's really kind of wild. But this is another example of a Tony Khan fumble. He had him there. Like with the New Japan crossover, you had him on your air, and you can't get the guy locked down. And you let him go to the competition. And he's already on day one way better off than what he was ever presented as in AEW. And he wasn't even under contract there. So, I mean, I guess you could say this qualifies as a fumble, but it's just like, you're going to look around. It's like, I every time he showed up there, everybody's like, oh man, Jeff Cobb, and look at him now. And I know what the AEW sickos are going to do, man. He's 42 years old. You're putting him up on the main roster. What the heck? And I already see some people using that as like a referendum on why Dakota Kai got released. Guys, the women's division is way different than the men's division. The women's division is incredibly competitive right now. They have a lot of young and upcoming talent. And Dakota Kai's been injured. There's a little bit of a different divide there, but they're trying to hang on to whatever they can to try and rationalize it. Hey, another guy who was running roughshod in Japan, running roughshod in Lucha Underground, chose to go to WWE over going to AEW. So to me, that's a failure. Again, this is, in a lot of ways, this is, I'm not going to say it's totally like, but it's on the same lines as what happened with Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer was like, just shown up on television sporadically due to some of the partnerships that AEW had. And then she just goes immediately to WWE. But yeah, this, like I said, this is a big deal. I don't think this is anything to sneeze at or anything to just blow past. This is one of those things where I think WWE, and they put him, and yes, I understand that the Bloodline stock is not where it used to be. Obviously, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa are both hurt. Jacob Fatu's not going to be there. Solo's kind of, after, being booked pretty strongly over the last year, really hasn't, he's kind of taken a step back in wrestling, and he's been eating a lot of pins. So, but I think bringing him into the Bloodline, Jeff Cobb, is actually going to be really good for him. And I think if they can book him properly, this could end up really well for him because he's a great wrestler. Like I said, Olympian, has been around the block, has done a lot of stuff, really well thought of. And again, like I said, just by the reaction that he got in St. Louis, that tells you the people knew who he was. And that's a good start right there. So again, it's like if you're an AEW fan, it's like, yeah, it's great that you're signing all of these like, talented guys who do a bunch of flips, but it would help if like, hey, you could have like a big intimidating guy. But again, it's like I said late last week about EJ Naduka. Like they just totally punted on him because it's like, yeah, he's too physically imposing. I was like, yeah, your whole fucking roster is a bunch of 200-pound soaking wet guys who just do a bunch of super kicks and flips. It would be nice to have a guy like Jeff Cobb right now, but hey, he's in WWE. It's another Tony Khan fumble, and we move on. So, yeah, that was a great little moment to start off the show, and a really fantastic match, by the way, between the four-way between Fatu, Knight, Priest, and McIntyre. So, we'll see where this goes. It's going to be very interesting to monitor the Bloodline and how they move forward in WWE. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. We'll have a lot more Backlash follow-up on the channel here. Stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys soon.